Hi, folks. We are going to be talking about Captain America, Man or Mantle. Anthony Mackie recently had some statements, and people have had some pretty interesting opinions on is he worthy? Is Sam Wilson? It's turned into a whole topic, and we're going to discuss it. Join us as we talk about Captain America, Man or Mantle. Back. Thanks for joining us, folks. We are GrownAGeeks, and we're going to be talking about Captain America. Actor Anthony Mackie recently had some comments regarding Sam Wilson, the character he plays, where he was playing Falcon for a number of movies. Now he's taken on the role of Captain America for the new movie, Captain America: Brave New World. We got to see that transition. If you watched Falcon and Winter Soldier, where he actually took the mantle and became Captain America. Many of you remember he was given the shield by Steve Rogers, and some people felt some kind of way about that. Some people thought Bucky should have got it, but ultimately it was Steve's choice to give it to Sam. Joining me to have this conversation tonight, we've got insert cool nickname, Miss Brandy, for marvelous Miss Kennedy. Miss Teresa's here with us tonight. Normally, because we're talking about something Marvel, got to throw it in there for you. My man down here, RG Cashmere. What does that say? Ogun 4?
And of course, the fourth.
Oh, the fourth. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was an anime I hadn't watched, bro. I was trying to check. And joining me as always, my man Jeffrey JP and T17. I am Elder Geek Sam, and of course, I am Team Cap. Now, Brandy brought to us a question. Brandy, if you would, what was the question you had?
I'll try to condense it. So there were statements made by Anthony Mackie that Captain America is not about America. He's about being just a good and decent person. And the argument was made that there were instances when Captain America did go against America. When he felt that it wasn't the greater good because he is good, and that's the mark of Captain America is he is a good man. Like he can wield Mjolnir, he's worthy, he's a good man. And you can give the shield to anybody, but the shield and the outfit and the mantle of Captain America doesn't make them worthy, I guess. Yeah. So jump off from there.
Okay. So let's get into it. I'd be happy to start this conversation. I would absolutely agree. I think there's been many instances if we just take the MCU, if we just look at where most people are going to be familiar with the character of Sam Wilson, if we keeping it a buck, most people are going to know Anthony Mackie's portrayal of Sam Wilson throughout the series, throughout the MCU. And we've heard numerous times where we saw Chris Evans portraying Captain America, and the conversation continued to revolve around being a good person, being a good man. And there is a definite line where Steve Rogers tells Sam Wilson, "You're a good man, Sam." Like very distinctly says that. And it's very clear that Bucky is not a good man. Right. He was not a good man for a very long time. So if we just base it off of that, because the scientist who created the super soldier formula, he actually does he has a whole conversation with Steve Rogers, and he basically tells him, whatever you put in, that's what you're going to get out. And so if we give the super soldier serum to a good person, then we're going to get a better person. We're going to get the best of that person. If you have somebody, and we saw this with John Walker, for those of you who watch, if you have a person who is not that good of a person and you give them this super soldier serum, you get worse because you're bringing that out of them. Steve Rogers, on more than one occasion, has only gone against bullies. He doesn't like people to be picked on. He doesn't like bullies. And he's going to stand up and do what's right, not what the rules say to do, because he didn't want to sign the Sokovia Accords because he knew that his hands would be tied, would not be able to help when help was needed. Sam Wilson was right there supporting Cap's decision and using that as his guideline. That's how he has operated as he continued his career. And it comes down to him being a good person. So Anthony Mackie's comments do actually show that he has a little bit better understanding of the character than some people who are just tied to the fact that his name says Captain America. But yeah, it's definitely about being a good person, and it's less about living in the U.S. and where he resides.
Yeah.
So,
I think I have to agree with Mackie on that one. That it's about being a good man. I think that was what Stan Lee's specialty was attempting to write ideals, and those ideals were just basically represented in certain people. Now, given the time frame that he wrote it, that comic came out, Captain America was a needed thing for the United States at that time. So, but the purpose of Captain America was supposed to be that it would instill a sense of character and pride and honor in people and things like that. It wasn't about patriotism. He's not necessarily about patriotism. He's about justice and doing the right thing. And since technically Captain America is really an idea, right? It's just a name. The guy's name is Steve Rogers. Captain America is a character. It's somebody he plays. It's somebody he dresses up and acts like. So anybody can pull that off, right? You can give that to anybody. It's if you represent the idea of what Captain America is supposed to be. Now, despite the fact of how the comic, the context of the comic and when it was written, and obviously it's in the name, it's America, but it's still supposed to represent the ideal of what being good and being righteous and being just are supposed to be about. So yeah, I have to agree with Mackie on that one. It's definitely a mantle.
Well said. Well said. Don't think I could have said it better. Jeff, what's your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I think that this is why we need more art appreciation, reading comprehension in our schools, because we've had X amount of movies, X amount of comic books, and people don't get it because they don't understand who they are in the story. They actually are the people who took the shield away from Sam under the guise of, you don't really need it. We're not really doing the Captain America thing right now, just so they can roll out a puppet who will do whatever they say,
Right.
whether or not what they are having this person do is actually in line with the quote unquote ideals of the country, right? Like Captain America was not just like a random super soldier project that they came up with on a whim. He was specifically created and designed to fight Nazis. Like specifically for that reason. He is supposed to be the antithesis of that. Now, there are numerous instances in the comic books where obviously we know that the Nazis eventually shift to Hydra and they infiltrate the American government, they infiltrate S.H.I.E.L.D. So when we see in Captain America Winter Soldier and he's on the elevator and it's like, who wants to get off? Who do you think he's fighting against in that moment? He's technically fighting American agents.
Right.
In Civil War, when he decides not to sign the Sokovia Accords and ends up in a federal supermax prison, he is fighting against the American government. The reality is the American government and the people who are in control of the American government within Marvel, I'm talking about within Marvel, people can have their own ideas about political, but in Marvel, the people who are in control of the government are not always people who are upholding the same ideals that Captain America is. And so he often finds himself where he is at odds with quote unquote America or the American establishment. But we understand that Steve Rogers is a principled man with principled ideals. And because of why he was given the serum, because of what he went through to get it, there's an understanding that he is coming from a place of being a beacon for people to look towards. He is not a weapon that he's not a gun that America can just shoot at whoever they don't like at the moment, because he's going to ask questions. He's going to ask why. That is the reason why T'Chaka didn't take the shield off him when he beat his ass the first time he showed up at Wakanda. Like the fact that he even is allowed to be a white man on that planet walking around with the vibranium shield is a testament to his character as an individual.
Right.
And the fact that in the MCU, the Wakanda was like, you can keep the shield, but also, Anthony, you need a little help. Like, okay, you don't want to get the shot. I get it. But let us at least give you a suit to absorb some of this because you are just a man. And in order for you to do
said his suit is vibranium and it has all the absorbers and stuff.
Yeah, now. But like, if he wasn't a good man, they're not giving him that. Because the same way they did the five fingers of death, boop, 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 and ripped homeboy arm right off.
He was so hurt in that moment, wasn't he?
Same way they had a U.S. agent pinned up underneath the table with them vibranium spears. Like when you not a good person and you not doing what you're supposed to do, like the Wakandans are essentially the moral compass of the MCU. Message, like so you can just look at like a series of those types of things. The reality is though, people are upset. People were upset when Sam Wilson got the shield in the comics. It was a whole thing in the nerdosphere. Why? And to me, it kind of goes to a lot of what RG says sometimes, where it's like, okay, like, why can't you just be Falcon then? Why can't Falcon just be enough?
The one.
But I also understand the importance of the mantle. I understand why some, comic editors might get in the room and be like, Obama's president. Things seem like they're moving in the right direction. You know what we need? Black Spider-Man and Black Captain America. And everybody was like, what? Not my America. And it's like, all the Black comic fans are like, this is cool, but like, we could have told you like this was going to happen. Like, they already not reading these characters to begin with. They don't care about these characters to begin with. Now you somebody who's been obsessed with Captain America forever. And he's looked like you, and he's felt like you, and you don't even understand how ingrained that aspect of it is to you because everybody looks like you. All the heroes look like you. All the heroes feel like you. The first time when he doesn't look like you, you feel like it's being taken away from you. And now the person who we've done that in the MCU as well, and then the person who is playing the role has the quote unquote audacity to get up there and say, I don't think he just represents America. He didn't put it well. We understood what he meant. He's an actor. He is somebody who is used to having words written for him to say. Yeah. They always get in trouble when they try to say their own words.
Stop freestyling.
So, give him a little bit of grace. Anthony, chill out. Just, big boom, shield go, whoop, 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 Red Hulk, and get out of there. Because I don't remember no Chris Evans interviews where he was sitting around talking about the ideals of America and what Captain I don't remember.
He also wasn't challenged on it.
Right.
Exactly.
He didn't have to.
Right, exactly.
But then that's when you flip it back and you be like, why y'all didn't ask Chris this? See, I'm gonna be that Black Captain America.
Did you ask Chris about
what did Chris say?
But I have the same thoughts that Chris had about this topic when you asked him.
Mic drop.
Go America.
And then the wings come out and I fly off.
There you go. No, I think honestly it's definitely something that's gonna dog whistle a lot of people, and I would say just kind of just kind of looking and check the comments, see which of those people you follow and that sort of thing. Keep up with it that way. But when it's all said and done, these are fictional characters.
Something real quick. Real quick and very real quick. About Bucky. Now y'all know I love me some Bucky. I love and adore Bucky. I think people really downplay his trauma. He is traumatized. He has literally lived through hell. He has flashbacks of terrible, awful things that he did. Like, he can't, you know what I mean? He's just now starting his journey to be healed behind everything that's going on. Why
And
would
he
you want
got
him to
there
take
with
on the
Sam's
mantle
help.
of Captain America?
Right.
Very good
Yeah.
point. Very good
Well,
point.
I mean, if we keeping it a buck, MCU definitely magical Negroed Sam because he nursed both them white men back to mental health and helped them deal with the new world that they were unfrozen from.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it's like
It's
Sam
just
was in them groups because he also is a veteran. Like he checks all the boxes except for one. And people don't want to be honest about the fact that he doesn't check that one box bothers them when he gets into a certain space. When he's getting outran by Captain America and just come down to the meeting, brother. We can talk. You're cool in that role. You cool when
Right.
when Cap's fighting the big guy and you do a little cool cameo flip wing.
We gave you
bang,
on your
guns.
left.
Yeah.
You got to say on your left. Isn't that good?
Yeah. We cool with you there, but when it's time to put you front and center, it's a problem because people would not have been I don't think people would have been mad at all if they gave his shield to Bucky, and they would have been doing all this. Well, he
It
worked
just
through it,
isn't.
and he blah blah blah, and it's like, yeah, but like we never had to go
But
on that
nothing
journey
about
with
that character
Sam.
has shown that. Like,
Yeah, Brandy
He's
has pretty
literally he
much
was a
struck
Russian
him
agent.
as an option. That is, yeah, he is not an option. Those are,
Well, that's what
yeah,
the naysayers, the negative Nellies, that's what they're saying now. The same ones who said, "No, I'm not going to see the Marvels because it's just it's a girl power, whatever, woke, whatever. So I'm just not even going to bother." Those same people are the ones who are saying, "Well, they should have given it to Bucky. Bucky was a whole terrorist,
Right.
whole assassin,
thank you.
and you want to
motherfucker-
give the shield to him just because." For obvious reasons.
right.
He had to do the Dave Chappelle and go to Africa to get right. Like he was
Okay,
messed
thank
up.
Literally, and still ain't right. He's righter,
And you know
Yeah.
what?
but they know
Now-
he ain't right.
now
That's why
we
they
really
keep
get
popping
into
up
the
on him.
nitty-gritty.
Like, no, we just checking.
Yeah, you gotta
Right.
call your
Bucky
Wakandan
had to
Real.
be
sponsor.
killed by a black woman to really get right. That's really
Yeah.
what it came down to. Because when he came out that hut with the smile, like it was clear.
I've seen the light, my
Anyway.
brother.
Okay.
Mm.
Anyway,
The white wolf.
right.
He came out howling to the African moon.
Look, I said when she took his arm off, you saw how hurt he was. That was personal. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
he was like, I didn't know you knew how to do that. Like you really.
Motherfucker was just out looking at the lagoon, like, man,
Like don't you remember those times?
I don't remember
Like, I
killing
felt like-
nobody.
I felt like Bucky's bottom lip was quivering, and then of course she gave him the arm back and whatnot. But he was like,
I don't even
"You
need this
really
girl.
did that."
A gentle reminder.
I didn't even know you could do that. Word, boo. Dang.
Right.
Dang.
Nah, I don't know. I don't even think Bucky would want the shit.
Yeah.
Like he
Oh yeah.
he
Yeah,
wouldn't
don't
even
want
he
That's
wouldn't even
great.
I
want
think
the
he
shit.
would turn it down.
it. Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But more importantly, I think it has a lot to do with Steve's decision to give it to Sam, that a lot of people are like just overlooking that. Like that by itself should have told you what you needed to know. Because if this person who
DEI.
you want to set
It's a
as the
handout.
standard, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Should have got his
Like
own
this-
shield.
And Marvel.
That was the best
Steve
man
knew
for the
Real
job.
Bucky. Steve knew the real Bucky. He knew, Bucky from way back, and he
Yeah, he
knew
knew
that
Brooklyn
this
Bucky.
ain't the
He
same
knew Bucky killed
Right, that's
Bucky
not the
killed
same Bucky.
Tony's father.
Right.
Right.
You killed
And that's the funny thing. A lot of the people who are out here yelling that it should be Bucky that gets the shield were Team Iron Man, and now you just cool with Bucky getting the shield. I just want to make sure
He
that
knew
Same
this
Bucky.
shield that they put in that man's chest.
like that's
Okay.
that's
He
how
knew Bucky when they was going to Coney Island, and he had 3 different girls all in different parts of the park
Right.
trying to go on a
Right.
date with all of them.
And
Right.
Bucky was
Right.
having
Busy,
to beat
Steve.
people's ass for beating Steve's little ass.
Right.
And the thing about it too, going back to what we said before, like Captain America, a lot of people in like leadership positions. So like the character that Harrison Ford is playing, the different presidential characters, even Nick Fury at certain times in the comics have all tried to like use Captain America as a gun to point at whoever they were mad at the time. And the reality is you have to be the kind of person that can push back when you say this person, okay, yeah, you might be doing some deep covert for America undercover stuff that I don't necessarily like understand. But if I don't agree with it, I'm not going. Bucky has
doing it,
already shown
right.
that he's programmable. So he would have just been a worse version of John Walker, to be real with you. Like, he doing all that, being upset, crying, mad because he got beat up by some black
Right.
women. Like, all they already have the code words written down in the notebook to
Bread,
like shut down Bucky's CPU.
terabyte.
Like, yeah, like get
Facts.
out of here,
And
man.
and what
Ain't
they
no
don't
way.
have written down, they have all over the place. It
Yeah.
feels like there's always 14 people at
But
any
and
time that know them words.
All right.
and I think
Seems
and the
that way.
visual of a black man telling the white president in the MCU, nah, like him just like cause yo, just being like you ain't no Steve Rogers. That's wild disrespectful, my guy. I don't care what
For
Right.
real.
process you are. Like,
Right.
you don't
For
tell no
real.
black man
Yes.
who you ain't. Like, I ain't that good at basketball, but somebody can look, you ain't Michael Jordan. Like, yo, bro, do we need to like fight? Like,
I hope
'cause
they save the PG-13. Save the PG-13 for that moment right there and let them respond with "fuck you."
Exactly.
Right.
The
Director's
very
cut.
first time I heard that, you're
There it is.
Steve Rogers. And, you know, maybe not y'all, but a lot of people know me as a rather quiet and, you know, whatever
Reserved.
person. But he said that you know Steve Rogers. I was like, no, motherfucker, he's not. You know, and that,
Okay,
every time I
ooh.
see it too, I'm like,
Teresa.
Don't get it twisted now. I know Teresa
no,
a long
he's
time.
not
pull
Steve
my
Rogers.
pull
He
my
is
That's
wooden
what I'm
pearls out so I
saying.
can clutch them.
I'm like, how did you watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier and still walk away
They didn't.
feeling the same way? You know what I'm
They
saying?
didn't.
Like, honest
That's
to
the key.
goodness,
They didn't
I
watch
didn't
it.
feel like anything
collective
about that
memory.
show
Collective
was
memory.
like, um, I didn't feel like it was forced, and I didn't necessarily walk into what I did not want to. Well, I wasn't looking forward to watching that show. Bucky
Yeah.
is the reason I watched that show. It's
Fair
like
enough.
political, and you know how I love Anthony Mackie. I love him. I think he's wonderful.
I feel like if you
So,
came out
but
of
I
Falcon
did
and
walk
Winter
out of that show
Soldier,
with a deeper understanding. I felt of who Captain America was supposed to be.
Right.
Like,
yeah, that's what I was
Especially
saying.
with the
Like,
whole
if you
Isaiah
walk,
Bradley tie-in. That was
yeah,
that
like
to
if
me.
you
That
left
was
that show,
probably that was important. What you got, Jeff?
like if you left that show and you still didn't like understand why Sam gave him the shield in the first place, then like you just decided like you're never going to. Like, they literally gave it to somebody who was like the person who you feel like checked all the boxes, but he was insecure. He didn't believe in himself. He thought he couldn't do it without the serum because he thought being Captain America was all about the serum. Went and literally just like went on some rampage on the black market. And then you saw your boy, even with the serum, even with all that, he realized he didn't have enough in him. He got put on his back by them black ladies, and you saw and then people watched that and they saw themselves. They saw themselves in they saw a black man getting a handout. They saw the government making it right and giving it to the war hero who really deserved it. And then he got out in the field. He didn't have what it took. Sam and Bucky was ahead of him on every single clue. Every time he showed up, he was showing up after Sam and Bucky. You got beat up. You cried on the floor, and then at the end,
Jeff. You heard their feelings. Stop.
I don't
Stop.
I'm giving a synopsis of the show, and then even at the very end, Anthony Mackie gives them,
yeah, it is.
He gave you a whole Captain America Martin Luther King speech on TV about how I don't need the serum because I'm the man. It's just me. And now you like, he don't get it. You don't get it. You don't get it.
And I think they should have given Wyatt Russell an Emmy because he is obviously a great actor. Because every time I see him in anything, I want to choke the life out of him.
Thanks.
Very punchable face.
Thanks.
Very punchable.
And
face.
I feel bad because I literally adore him. I love his parents. Like his pedigree.
Yeah. I love his parents, but I want to choke him.
But yeah, dude,
I need to see
that
him.
guy now.
You know what? I'm looking forward to seeing Thunderbolts and hoping that I will have.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will have a better relation. Like I will feel differently about John Walker, seeing him in an opportunity to be
I
in his element.
Yelena gonna give him that work.
I'm with you on it. I'm with you on it, Teresa. Like, I hope he sacrifice this motherfucker. Let that be the thing. His character arc. Like, oh man, that nigga. Yeah, he let himself
You know what?
die. Wow, you took
He
that
got a
bullet.
shield.
Awesome.
Let him beat a shield and be in the way.
Not another show. Thank you.
There we go. Let him be the shield and be in the
Don't
way.
let me be on the Thunderbolts team. Oh, fake ass Captain America.
This course
Got
of
Lieutenant
disco.
America over here.
Roasting your own teammates.
Captain Crunch. I mean America.
Oop.
That's hilarious.
Nobody's
Captain
getting
Colin.
saved.
Glad that
Nobody's getting
my
saved.
opinion, or at least my perception, wasn't too far off. Because
No.
I don't, like I said, I only know Captain America from the comics, and I mean from the movies. Prior to the movies, I had never given the man a thought, except for Adventures in Babysitting. Nope, that was Thor.
That was Thor. Now, one interesting point, just now. This is my last thought here. We are talking about MCU and Marvel Comics, which both contain a multiverse, and there is actually so many variations of Captain America across the multiverse that it would really, like, you would see some little heads pop if they was to have to be subjected to all of these different versions of Captain America that aren't Steve Rogers.
Right.
And it's one of those things where it's like, you take something as simple and as you just mentioned, you take something as simple as Thor, where it is clearly stated numerous times, whosoever shall be worthy shall have the powers of Thor. You have that power set. As a result, you are that version of Thor. And yet, people just can't accept that there could be more than one Thor. When clearly, all you have to do is be worthy. You can pick up the hammer, and guess what? You now have all his powers. You are a different version of Thor.
Captain America doesn't mean you take his powers away from him. You also have the powers.
The powers in the hammer.
That is the thing that I think people don't understand. It's not about I get it and you don't get it. It's about you got it. I also got it. We all got it. We can all be this person.
It's a lot of wins.
Now, what's one, and I know I said last thought, but
yeah,
Captain America actually, like, Steve Rogers was still alive to hand the shield to Sam Wilson, even in the comics.
Right.
Okay.
And he just remained.
Was
Steve
it the same?
Rogers.
Was he old and he just or he just retired?
It took a lot longer. At one point, they extracted the super soldier serum from him, and he didn't have his powers. But the man has been through how many battles at this point? His mind was still his mind, and he was still, like, able to contribute. Hell, at one point, he was the leader of S.H.I.E.L.D.
But he was way busier in the comics than he is in the
you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And he was Nomad, and that was a time when he, like, wasn't wearing the costume or anything. He had a damn cape and had his chest all out. You would have liked his little taco meat, but you know what I'm saying? It was like it comes
Captain
back.
America is too much.
They had a whole chest. Look it up.
On.
Steve Rogers as Nomad. Look up the image. But the point being there that, you know, this character, although he's been known as Captain America, hell, at one point just the Captain, he passed on the mantle. Like, he himself passed on the mantle.
Yeah.
I will, you know what? I'm not even going to give him that one. Because he passed it on, that's what it is. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. The man that wrote the story said that's how it happened.
There you go.
And this is how it's going to happen. And
all hail Stan Lee.
I hope that people just make peace with it. And whether you like Anthony Mackie or not, if you have a problem with what he said, you know, he's playing he's an actor and he's playing a character. Get over yourself.
It reminds me of I'll be watching a lot of old I just be watching a lot of old stuff from the 90s on YouTube. And I was watching an episode of Donahue where Louis Farrakhan was on there. And there's a part of it where he says the reason why people get scared is because when they're in power, they're scared that other people, when they gain power, will use that same power the way that they used it. And everybody is not of the mindset to use power to subjugate and oppress other people. And if you are Captain America and you're like a person who can identify visually, racially, genderly, however, with Captain America, and you haven't necessarily been using like your own power in the most positive way, but you're still identifying with this certain character, you become afraid that when other people feel empowered, they're going to use that power the same way you used yours. Even if you didn't use it all, even if you just silence, not helping anybody, not speaking up, you become afraid that like people are going to just look up and say, well, I got mine. I don't need to stand up for other people. I don't need to help out my quote unquote fellow man unless I feel like I'm connected with them directly, or they look like me, or they come from where I come from, or they have enough money I like, they wear the clothes that I like, all of these superficial things, when the crux of Captain America is I'm here for everybody because I am about standing up and doing what's right. I believe in freedom. I believe in truth. I believe in justice. I believe in fairness. None of those ideals have any sort of race, color, gender, religion attached to them. So if Captain America Steve Rogers picks Sam Wilson and those are his ideas about who Captain America is, he is giving the shield to somebody who he feels and believes is going to embody those ideals. It is on the readers, it is on the viewers to unpack why you feel a disconnect from these two characters that are embodying the same ideals.
Let the church say amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Like,
Amen.
yeah.
Pass the
Right.
collection plate.
If you can't see
Woo!
the similarities of
Woo,
those
let's
two
go, young
people
man.
and
Let's
what you
go.
see as different pushes it so far apart,
Well said.
that's a you issue. That is, man. There's the clip.
Well said.
Right.
There you go, for real. Well fucking said.
Yo, that's the clip right there. Well, folks, I hope that you learned something. I'm gonna go there. I hope you learned something today. Normally, I hope you enjoy, but I hope
We're
you
gonna
learned
learn
something.
today.
We thank you for watching. We do ask that you like and subscribe. If you enjoy our content and what we're putting out, do us a favor, click that QR code. Follow us everywhere you find GrownAGeeks. It's been a pleasure, and I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. For Brandy, Teresa, RG, Jeffrey, I'm LD Geek Sam, and we are out of here.